Good morning, brave adventurers, and welcome back to the quest. I am AmalgamAsh, and this is one of the quests submitted to the 2023 HeroQuest Quest Jam. This is one of the quests submitted to the 2023. This is one of the quests submitted to the 2023 HeroQuest Quest Jam. Be advised that there will be spoilers for the quest in this video. And now onward, brave heroes. The Star of the West by Jordi Figueras Bagué. Through many challenges I have sent you, my dear friends, but none as pressing as this one. Despite all our efforts, or maybe because of them, Zargon is more determined than ever to get what his wretched soul has been longing for: absolute power over the realm. It has come to my attention that his dread forces have been hitting hard against some random Borderlands villages, but I'm sensing a pattern, and I'm afraid he is trying to get his hands on the artifacts of old, the ones the great heroes used to defeat him so long ago. If that's the case, you should go to the town of Miliel, resting place of Rogar the Barbarian, and make sure the Star of the West, his diamond, is safe. But be careful, for we don't know what Zargon's real intentions are and why he wants those relics. This is the first quest that I played with the 2021 edition of HeroQuest set up. I've completely set up this quest's furniture and all of the non-hidden rooms, and not the monsters. I like that this starts at the edge of the board. I always appreciate a good expansion theme to start, and this quest gets extra points from me because it's one of those that takes place in a town setting. All of the rooms are like stores and different kinds of buildings. We have a really interesting item here in what appears to be the blacksmith's area. It's worth searching and getting this item. It has a really cool ability. And I do love the stair placement all around. It's pretty consistent, and it really gives the feeling that this is a town of multiple levels. Unfortunately, we are told in the quest notes that we are late. The once majestic and peaceful town of Miliel is burning. Only the great temple of the west seems to hold between the collapsing buildings. Be careful, for I still sense Zargon's presence nearby. The engraved metal door of the temple is shut. Only the right key will open it. The heroes will need the temple key. This is a particularly nice homage. Even covered in corpses and filled with smoke, the old inn is still magnificent and welcoming to all heroes and adventurers, one of the most popular inns in the realms. Ultimately, this is a well thought out quest with a lot of very simple mechanics sprinkled into its design that ultimately come together to form a very satisfying quest. I'm particularly interested in what's in this center room, but you'll have to play the quest to find out. Thank you, Jordi, for this amazing quest. Stemming the Tide by Moseth. The village center was quiet, save for the fires burning through what remained of the thatched-roofed buildings in the western quarter. Some villagers were already clearing the dead bodies of militia and orc alike while scavenging wood and tools from various places, not from any sense of civic duty, but for fear of what was about to befall them again, and that perhaps this time they might be better prepared. The party of heroes were readying themselves as the roar of orcs drew ever closer. After being repelled once, the orcs were clearly rallying for another raid on the hapless village. Henrik, the militia leader, had ordered any who didn't already evacuate in time to the market square in the center, and to bring any defenses they can spare. Scattered about are various items of furniture the villagers have salvaged. Henrik suggests you use these to barricade the streets in order to stem the tide of greenskins that will soon, no doubt, arrive. Your party must place these items of furniture where they think they will be of most use to block passageways and hold out until the end of turn 6. Each enemy that enters the market square or center room border kills one villager amid the chaos, and you cannot lose more than 10 villagers or this quest is a failure. Good luck, heroes. So the quest notes for this actually say to lay out the entire map using open doors, but not reveal the room contents, and to treat the center as one open space using the center room border more as a perimeter marker. Any enemies that pass beyond this marker will kill one villager. You can place each item of furniture on the board anywhere that the party decides may prove most useful. Each item of furniture will take 3 points of damage from attacking enemies, after which it is destroyed and removed, and ranged attacks may pass through any furniture. Good news, because you'll start this quest with not 1, but 2 crossbow-wielding mercenaries. Interestingly enough, this seems to be part of a greater campaign that uses an ammunition system, because Note B on the quest note specifies that the weapon rack contains a crossbow with 20 bolts. The map for this quest has numbers, and on each numbered turn pictured on the map, we will place D3 plus 3 orcs and the D3 plus 3 goblins as close to the numbered starting points as possible. Without spoiling too much of the quest, I'll say that turn 1 and 2 have us rolling for monsters to spawn on these 2 squares. So, I don't have a D3, I just have a D6, so I'm going to roll it and have the 1 and 2 count as 1, the 3 and 4 count as 2, and the 5 and 6 count as 3. and that's a 6. So that means 3 orcs spawn, and then we do the same thing for goblins. I rolled a 2, so that's 1 goblin that spawns. Obviously, I've placed the furniture onto the map because it was basically included on the map for the quest, but you can place this furniture anywhere you'd like. Rather, your heroes can place this furniture anywhere that they'd like before you begin to reveal where the spawns are and from where the monsters will come. That's not the only place the monsters will come. There are a few different spots on the board where they will spawn and begin to make their encroachment into the center area, so just warn your heroes of that. Or don't. It's probably more fun if you don't, actually. Despite the defensive strategy against the onslaught of greenskins, there is still very much a map here to explore. There's still places to go into and search so that you can find gold and other treasures that may help you in this endeavor. And you might tell your heroes to take a bit of a proactive stance because, beginning from turn 4 onward, you can replace orcs with Famir. So I like this quest a lot, actually. I think it has massive replayability. I think that it forces your heroes to think in creative ways and to actually kind of work together, because there's a common goal here that's not just separate and go through and collect treasure, although I guess that's still possible depending on how greedy some of your party members are, but it is very much a united effort to keep the foes at bay until turn 6, and after turn 6 this mission is done. So it kind of doesn't matter where your heroes go or what they're doing as long as they're stemming the tide. This is a good length for a quest. Very good job, Moseth, and thank you for submitting this awesome quest. Symbol of Immortal Evil by Adorable Bunny. One night your companions and yourself are spending your last gold coins at the tavern, drinking and wondering what will be your next adventure. Suddenly, a hooded, bearded bard is facing you. My name is Bardic Broadcasts, and I am here to propose the best quest ever made. I will show you a place where you will feel the excitement, taste the fear, suffer the greatest pain, and most probably die. My only advice, don't turn the bunny rabbit upside down. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong. For anyone searching for treasure, when it comes time to reveal the content of the alchemist table, bam! Heroic brew! Because after all, who's gonna argue? This is rubbish. This is brilliant. This contains 250 gold coins. This is an abomination. You didn't think of that, did you? This is a gargoyle. And it's immortal. You can't even tell what this is. You better be searching on the floor. Searching on the floor, you might say. And what about those who have back, neck, and face problems? The Dread Sorcerer's stats are a movement of 10, 5 attack dice, 4 defend dice, 4 body points, and 6 mind points, with the spells of Fear, Command, Ball of Flame, and Summon Undead. Of course, the only response to this is to put a monster in every square, as it's the right and privilege of every HeroQuest owner. There is more to this, but I'll let you figure that out. So thank you, Adorable Bunny, for this, cracking quest. Solo quest, The Ancestral Weapon, by Brian Campbell. Evil has befallen the land. A band of goblins and orcs has invaded the dwarven city of Kokon. In the fray, the monsters made off with a prized heirloom of the dwarves, the Ancestral Spirit Blade. In this solo quest for the dwarf, you have tracked the warband to the ruins of Mireworth Keep. You must search the keep and recover your family's heirloom sword before the thieves disappeared and the weapon is lost. The dwarf enters the dungeon at the door in the center of the board. This is also the dungeon's exit. I like this right away because it unconventionally uses one of the large expansion tiles, particularly one that doesn't get enough love as it is, the outside of the Frozen Wastes. While I do have this set up with the classic style HeroQuest, this of course is utilizing any component that can be found with the 2021 edition of the game. It is a solo quest, so our dwarf is going to be tearing through the greenskins that he meets all by himself, which I think he would not have any other way. One of the cool things about this particular quest is the stairs. Quest note A on the quest says that these stairs connect to the lower level of the dungeon, which is located in the bottom left-hand corner of the board. I won't spoil what's all in the lower left-hand corner of the board, but I did set it up, at least furniture and door-wise. When moving on to this tile, you may exit on any of the 3 squares of the other stairs tile and vice versa. Should it ever be relevant, the 6 rooms on the bottom left-hand corner of the board are underneath the rooms on the top right-hand side. You cannot use the spell Pass Through Rock to gain access to them from the rest of the board, though you can pass through the interior walls once there. Are the dwarves studying Pass Through Rock? Actually, I wouldn't mind a skill for the dwarf. Maybe the dwarf should have a skill where he just breaks through walls, and instead of it being a pass-through wall effect, there's simply a door pulled out of the game system and placed along the wall. Then, like, if you use the ability, there's just a door there, permanently. And if the map is specified as being open in that area, then the door is functional and you lay out the parts. But then, like, if you use the ability and there's nothing on the other side of that door for the map, you've just basically wasted your ability. But at least you tried. Hey, maybe the ability would also allow you to draw a treasure card, you know, like because you're mining.
Hey, is this your video, or is it mine? I'm the dwarf, the star of the show.
Sorry. Please proceed. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy the Ancestral Weapon, and a big thank you to Brian for submitting this awesome quest. The Bad Company by Dr. Insomnia. Only days ago, you were in the Emperor's throne room and presented an ultimatum that the Emperor was clearly loath to give. A band of brutal brigands has been lying in wait on the country's roads, waylaying passing travelers and giving no quarter in their plunder. A gravely injured witness of one such attack gave a description to the townsfolk, who found her before passing from the mortal realm. She described a broad-shouldered warrior, a stout dwarf, a stealthy elf, and a powerful mage. The Emperor has been unable to quell the rumors that have spread, serving to turn your fame into infamy. With aid from the Emperor's scouts, you have tracked this group to a once-abandoned keep. You must find and slay the 4 brigands, so your good names will be restored. I don't know, I think we can settle this in a more civil manner. Defamation was a thing back in the olden days, right? Defamation, we'll sue them. We'll sue them. Sue? I'll launch a fireball at your merry Sue little arse. This has the makings of a classic HeroQuest map. There are multiple paths to get to the room where your quest will reach its end. There are lots of optional challenging rooms that provide you with nothing more than lots of monsters to be fodder. Everything just feels well balanced. The quest notes are short, simple, and succinct. But my favorite part of this whole thing is undoubtedly the room in which you will fight the brigands. Rather, the fight itself. The quest notes say to use any spare hero or monster figurines to represent the 4 brigands, and that the brigands have the same starting stats as the 4 HeroQuest heroes. Additionally, the barbarian wields a battle axe. The dwarf carries a shield for 1 extra defense die. The elf wields a crossbow, and the wizard wields a staff. The wizard also has the following chaos spells: Ball of Flame, Firestorm, Lightning Bolt, Sleep, and Tempest. This provides you with a very interesting opportunity as Zargon to play the heroes as if you were playing a HeroQuest scenario yourself. As the heroes, that means both players can effectively engage in a war game of group of heroes versus group of heroes. And it just goes to show that 2 can play at the game of door combat. Yeah! How does it feel when the wizard is diagonally adjacent to you, using his staff to reach you through the door? I don't know if you allow this in your games, but I do. To me, it's technically correct, so it happens. Also, ever since I played Lurch Brick's HeroQuest game on PC, I really liked the fact that, say, the elf with the crossbow exactly in this position would be able to hit the target past the door, because line of sight is not technically being blocked from center of square to center of square, unless you really are rigid about the bases of the minis covering every square inch of the tile they're on. I actually allow this sort of shot to be fired. But this is a very particular case, and it is a very particular positioning. With that said, I'm going to be up all night playing this quest, so thank you, Dr. Insomnia, for this awesome quest. The Dark Adversaries by Rudolph. Heroes of the Realm. You have thwarted many of Zargon's plans, and your success has not gone unnoticed by the dreaded Lord himself. He has collected a group of evil champions to strike back as hard as you have hit him. In their short existence, this group has already done great damage to the forces of the king and hampered me in my plans against Zargon. You must strike them down now before they become too powerful to stop. I have located them in a small keep where they cannot flee from easily. But be quick. Zargon has noticed our plans and already is sending dread specters to save his twisted heroes. This isn't going to be a simple task. Your 4 heroes are given 600 gold coins, 2 body point potions, and 4 mercenaries, 1 of each of the 4 types. That's to start with. And you're going to need that, because on every turn where there isn't a monster present on the board, except for a specter, Zargon can spawn 1 to 2 specters. What are specters? Well, all of the skeletons in this quest represent specters. They have the same stats as a skeleton, except they can move through furniture and walls. The one piece of advice I'll give you right away is to make your way to this room as soon as possible. Just beeline for it and search it for treasure after slaughtering the greenskins. You'll be very happy you did. There's some good legacy artifactage in this quest, and I think that it serves its purpose very well. But you are going to need to act quickly. There's not a lot of time before you can get into a situation like this. one specter being spawned in each specter spawn point. There was no better way to say that, I'm sorry. And you might think to have some people kind of sticking back to guard the alleyways until you realize these guys don't need to go through the heroes. They can just pass through walls. Now, you can still attack them with the magic and weapons that you have. That's not a big problem. The problem is that this rarely gives you an opportunity to be in a room that is empty of monsters in order to be able to search it for traps or treasure or secret doors. And you're going to need to search as many of these rooms as you can for those things, because there's quite a bit of opportunity for things hiding. Now, the right side of the board is the second floor of this dungeon, and using pass-through rock will not get you there. The only way to get there is using the staircase. And if it was me, I would probably leave one monster alive on the board at all times so that Zargon cannot spawn any more specters. That could be a real problem, because if specters are the only thing on the board, Zargon can still spawn more of them. So, like, congratulations, now you've got a little non-friendly goblin pet who's going to follow you around and stab your butt every chance he gets. Still, isn't that better than a situation like this, however unlikely? And I also want to say, when you finally do encounter the Dark Adversaries, they have the most awesome names ever. Really, really creative work. Thank you, Rudolph, for this awesome quest. Descent into the Dread Pit of Uzgat by Elvyler. The dread sorcerer Merdak is breeding an army of improved goblins in the Pit of Uzgat under the supervision of Dreadlord Valdis. Descend this hellish breeding pit to defeat Merdak and stop his efforts. The Dreadlord is a powerful ally to Zargon. Defeating him would deal a devastating blow to the evil wizard. Return to the Iron Door entrance to complete this mission. The king will reward your group with 300 gold coins to be divided as you see fit. There's something about traversing down the hellish hallways of a frozen dungeon that really steels my nerves for battle. But knowing that this is the setting for somehow a goblin breeding grounds has a certain je ne sais quoi to it. The wandering monster here is an improved goblin. They actually roll one extra combat die when defending. That doesn't actually seem like much, but it's a small change like that that can really spice up a monster and make an adventure feel worth playing, or replaying, as the case may be. All of the ice tunnels in this dungeon are interconnected. When a hero or monster enters any ice tunnel, they may exit on one level directly above or below their current level, and the levels are labeled 1 through 5 on the map. This is another mechanic that I'm very fond of, separating the map into different sections. The ice tunnels actually lead into the different levels, which are represented by the quadrants of the board as well as the center tile. But I won't give too much away. I'll only say that there is an army of greenskins to fight through, and just when you think you've explored all of an area, you find out that there was so much more to it. Indeed, it would seem this adventure is quite straightforward, but that, I assure you, is hardly the case. We have some really cool things going on here, no pun intended, like the stairway across the hall. I really enjoy that. Alright, so we'll take out these skeletons and then head to this door to continue our search for the dread sorcerer Merdak, unless we've already passed him by. The skirmishes hidden throughout this dungeon are challenging and make sense. You can tell that Elvyler has had a few rounds of HeroQuest design under his belt. I won't spoil the epic final battle, but I will thank you, Elvyler, for this awesome quest. The 5 Towers of Ozox by Turtle Talk. You have assailed the dread sorcerer Ozox's palace, and he has fled to its rooftop pinnacles, 5 great towers that stretch up beyond the clouds. You must give chase, and quickly, but be careful. The narrow walkways threaten to plunge you to your doom far below, and the sorcerer is sure to use his force of monsters and traitorous mercenaries to slow your pursuit. Defeat him and bring peace to the land. Some stories tell of heroes, of bravery, of champions, of the weak and the meek, overcoming all odds to win the day. But the tale that will be shared between these adventurers will not be one of victory or celebration over their enemy, but of survival. For in every tower, there was a bath of blood. In every room, a brutal fight. Around every corner, the possibility of an instant death. 4 sets of harrowed eyes, who have seen a lifetime of horrors, shall meet silently over a table of ales as they grimly recall their final challenge of the 5th Tower of Ozox. For when they finally take down the gargoyles, they will face the dread sorcerer himself. The quest notes read that the first gargoyle that the heroes slay falls and is replaced by Ozox. This is a challenging quest with a few surprise rooms that make exploration a deadly inclination. Thank you, Turtle Talk, for this awesome quest. The Fortress of Luxon, by David Wright. Welcome, my friends. Though you have faced many perils and defeated formidable foes, I have ill news. A new darkness is rising. Ranath the Damned, a powerful dread knight, has reclaimed the abandoned Fortress of Luxon. He is building a legion of orcs and dread warriors, many of whom were once minions of the Witch Lord. 1 week ago, the king sent a small force to scout the fortress, but none have returned. The king requests that you, champions of the realm, set out and put an end to Ranath and his growing horde before his might is absolute. But be warned, my friends, there are also dark rumors of a terrible beast that dwells within the labyrinth. Not you, Cornelius. What? It's very much appreciated that the quest notes here read that the quest uses assets from Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, and the Frozen Horror. Additionally, the notes go on to say that secret doors in this quest can only be opened from the side, showing the open door. I really like this definitive answer as to how secret doors should be treated, at least for this one quest. One thing I didn't think about when creating this quest jam was creating a judgment criteria on aesthetic. To me, this quest looks really, really nice when completely laid out on the board. There's something about the feng shui of it that just looks great to me. And it has all the exploration elements that I really like. There are plenty of corridors with stairs, which I always love the use of the stairs from Keller's Keep. There are cells, empty rooms where nothing is going on, but just peaceful furniture, a reprieve from all of the combat and danger, a horde of undead around a tomb. I just really appreciate this sort of thing, you know? And boom, that's going on Instagram. Another room with undead and the altar. There are no quest notes for this room. It just looks nice and it's fun to walk into. This room has story elements, which I really appreciate, and we'll get to that. First, our heroes have to actually make it there, and to do so, they have a 50-50 chance of going through the correct door. The incorrect door will lead them into a room full of monsters, just trying their best to stay quiet and read. You know how this goes, though. Once that door opens, they emit into a bloodthirsty fit of rage. Emit? I'm not sure why I said that. It's kind of weird. Too late. I'll own it. These monsters emit at the heroes, violently and savagely. The scout in this cell is the last sane survivor of the King's scouts. The first hero to search for traps will find the jailer's key, which opens the cell. The scout, if released, will join the heroes for the rest of the quest. The scout relays the story to the heroes of how a large dread warrior seemed to convince her companions to join him one by one until she was the only one left. Story elements like this really rock and make a quest memorable. Also, it's super handy to have this scout on your team for the rest of the quest because this room has so much gray in it, it should be illegal. Not only do you have the dread sorcerer figure represented character who is the big bad of this dungeon, you have 4 chaos warriors and 3 great sword mercenaries. On top of that, you've got these 2 annoying orcs who just exist. An absolute nightmare to contend with. This is a really good quest that would fit really well in a campaign. I would like to see more from this creator specifically. Thank you, David, for this awesome quest.